Well, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Let the Truth Be Told. I'm blessed to be in the studio once again with all our listeners and our viewers that's out there on this evening. And so I thank the Lord for Jason and all the staff at UPTV that help us put this program together each and every Sunday evening. And so I thank the Lord for everybody that come up to me and say, Sean, I watch your program every Sunday night. And so I get that quite often, and I thank the Lord for being able to be in front of this camera and being able to come to all the people that's in the community out there. So thanks for the shots out. We got a lot of great things to talk about on this particular episode. We're going to address a lot of issues that's pretty hot right now, along the lines of race and racial tensions and that's going throughout not just this community but around the whole country. So we're going to be addressing a lot of those different issues on this evening. Starting it out, right here at home. So let's start right here within our own community. We've had several incidents that have happened in this particular community dealing with race. And so when I talk to people, my peers and things of that nature and folks throughout the community, and how's the race here in Champaign? How's it been going over the years, as a young guy growing up in Champaign, Urbana, and coming off of, I was born in '69. So we're coming off of some of the older laws, some of the Jim Crow stuff, some of the discriminations, trying to get the segregations and all those type of things. I was coming the back end of that era, and so and we felt that we're white and black. We were trying to gel and trying to come together within the schools and things of that nature. So you felt a little bit of it sometimes when I was growing up, but I can't really recall a lot of racial things happening to me as a high school student and as a student here, and I do recall a few incidents of some adults that didn't control themselves in a certain way, and not as much. My mom and some of her friends, they have different experiences, and so like many of you guys have had probably some different experiences with racial biases and things of that nature. But addressing this issue, we've recently had some things going on with Darius Paul over at the University of Illinois, and the statements by Stephen Bardo over at the University of Illinois, and his controversial statements, and I read one article that says that he's been controversial and he's ruffled the feathers of the Illini fans once again, and so. But I think he's just addressing the issues that happened with his son, and his son being pulled off of a bus on the University of Illinois and was labeled out and singled out of a group of African American students and other white students that were part of some underage drinking things and some things that go on around the country with our colleges. And so I think that we're not there yet as far as everybody being able to treat each other equally. And so so in addressing that and the Darius Paul incident at the University of Illinois and what's been going on with him and his arrest under underage drinking and that going on, tied in with what's going on with Donald Sterling with the Los Angeles Clippers and the controversy that's going on with him with this racist comments about Jews, African Americans. A slave mentality is what a lot of celebrities that I've read on blogs and Twitters have said, and so it is so much. It just lets us know as a nation that we got a lot of work to do, that we have a lot of work to do, and that it's still thriving throughout our countries, our countrysides, our smaller communities, our larger communities, our cities. It doesn't divide within your economic status, and I think that's what's most disturbing with a lot of our African American celebrities. We talk a lot about relationships in our Bible classes and things of that nature over at Jericho Missionary Baptist Church, and one of the things that I think that a lot of our celebrities, they haven't understood, even with the amount of money that they have been getting and the lavish lifestyles that they're living and the baller type status that they're having, that they're not exclusive or not excluded from racism. Even the guy, the billionaire that's paying them millions, he's treating them as like they were cattle or like they were on a plantation somewhere with this mentality. And so, and that was some of the statements that he said. He says he's buying them clothes and they're living in homes, and he's bought them homes and he's bought them cars, but he didn't want his girlfriend to take a photo with any of them. Don't bring them to the game. And so, as you you know, and a lot of us might go through some things like that. You might even go through that at a grocery store. You might go through that at school. You know, as I do reflect back, and a lot of times, you know, I thank the Lord for me, because I could put a lot of things in the past and let the past be the past. So it don't flourish in my spirit. So as I try to move forward in my life and knowing that racism exists out there, I don't think about it. But as I'm starting to open up the old wounds, I'm starting to remember some things. I'm starting to reflect back. And as I remember a teacher telling me at school, Sean, you won't be anything. You'll be dead or in jail. And that was a sort of racial comment toward me. You know, it was a kind of put down on me. It wasn't a build up, it was a put down. And so as I encouraged myself after that, you know, to not be where she said that I would be, to be a great example for my community, a great example for my family, to be a great example to be a dad, to be a son, to be a soldier in the military. You know, as I fly my flag on my lapel over here, and I'm very proud of that, you know. And I think this is for me personally. These are views, opinions, Sean. It's not what somebody else calls you, it's what you call yourself. You know, so as I look at Michael Jordan's comments, or I might listen to Kobe Bryant's comments, or Oprah Winfrey's comments, or Bill Cosby made some comments, Spike Lee even made some comments. So many people made comments about this because of the fact that I think they're hurt. And anytime you will allow yourself to be aligned with a relationship that's false. That's a false relationship because of the fact that you thought you might be able to, you know, caught up, you and arrived already. Now that relationship was able to be put down because this man said, and I just talked to some guys in my barbershop, and they were saying, well, he said something in his private home. That was his private home that he said something in, and he's entitled to say something. You know, a lot of us say things in private that we don't want to be known publicly. And which was a very, very, very reasonable point to me, because a lot of times, if we was a fly on the wall in some people's houses, you'll be amazed at what's said. You're amazed at what's going on, and so being spiritual, being scriptural, and things of that nature, and trying to and not saying we arrived there yet, just saying we're working on it, just saying we're working on it, and so that being said, you know. You'll be amazed at what's being said in people's homes and things of that nature, you know, and so, you know, but at the same time, strive to try to flourish those things out of your life, put those negatives out of your life. When I look at people, I try to look at people as people, and so many times we had a movie that came out called 12 Days of Slavery. 12 years of slavery, I'm sorry, 12 years of slavery. And the guy went through some real tough stuff, man. I mean, some tough stuff. And I went with the fellows from North End Breakfast Club. We met on a Saturday morning and went over there to Savoy, and we watched that movie. Very tough movie for me to watch. I can't watch a movie with people being treated in a certain type of way. It made me feel some type of way. You know, I had to close my eyes on various scenes when the young lady was mistreated and raped and brutalized and humiliated. You know, I can't watch that happen to anybody, whether they're black, white, Latino, any of that. For me, it's hurtful. And so certain stuff I don't want to focus on because it clouds your forward movement and your forward growth for a minute. It stuns you. It knocks you off your pedestal for a second. It knocks you off your path because you're more focused in on what happened in the past than what you're happening in the future. And I had a guy that told me the other day, he said, it's the reason why the rearview mirror is so small than the front windshield, because you're study looking in the past. instead of looking for the future. And so in order for our future to be much bigger, much brighter, it's nothing wrong with knowing where you come from. Mother Hattie always say, know where you've been, so you know where you're going. And I totally understand that. You got to know where you've been and some of the things of that nature. But you can't allow it to get into your spirit where it develops hurt, and hurt people hurt people. And so when you've been hurt, you only just hurt others if you're not forgiving yourself and forgiving others. And so it allowed me where I'm not so mad at all white people because of the fact that we had a moment in our lives and a moment in our history called slavery. I can't go out and target everybody for what somebody else did in the past. I can't get mad at everybody else. I can't go out and start a movement, so to speak, on targeting everybody else because of what some small-minded people that were in charge at that moment. What I can do is just assist the people that's in the future and my present, and started working on them. Start working on the young men that, like from Central and Centennial, that's changing their whole era, changing the way where they're dressing for success. They just came out with a video that has got national attention, and I thank the Lord for Unit 4 and the people that helped put that together, and over there at Unit 4, Barbara Cook and everybody that was participant in trying to orchestrate it. My nephew Jamar, Miss Wiegand, just orchestrated those young men and catapulted them and have let them know how appearance makes a difference. And what I believe in, and this is what I believe that appearance can even break some discriminatory lines. Way people think about you. It makes a difference. I look at a lot of our young people, and I won't say African American, I won't just say white, I say our young people, because we're all being tricked by the devil, even on your appearance. That you look like a rugrat instead of looking like success. I think in order to achieve success, you have to look and you have to feel that thing. You have to look that part. Because people look you up and down. They always told me first impressions is a lasting impression. So when a person see you for the first time, you got to look like what you're talking about. And so when you go into these arenas where somebody is going to judge you, I encouraged them young men last night, man, dress for success every day, because you're in an era where everybody's going to judge you. Everybody's going to look at you. They're not going to do what Christ say, look at the heart. They're going to look at your appearance. They're going to look at you from head to toe, what your shoes look like, what your hair look like, what your clothes look like. Then they're going to start asking some of those internal questions, And so work on that external, getting your hair cut. When I first started my barbershop out about 15 years ago, a lot of moms, a lot of dads sat in that barbershop on Fridays and Saturdays and knew the importance of bringing the kids to the barbershop. A lot of grandmothers used to, hey, Sean, I want to run to the store. Can you watch my grandson while he gets his hair cut? I had a lot of that back in the day. As time has moved forward and we have moved on to new technology and new different ways and new styles and new fads, we don't get a lot of that anymore because of the fact that we're following the NBA players, we're following the NFL players, we're following what rappers and what R&B singers prescribe as success and a successful look. Well, they've already got their check. And as we already see, most of them are right now disgruntled because of the person that gave them their check. And so that can't be a level of what we're trying to achieve. It can be where we're trying to go, to put those people as role models for our young people. Because we're trying to get into colleges, we're trying to get into a new job place, we're trying to get into a new place. And that haircut makes a difference. A lot of the guys are going around with the twisties now, making a statement, I guess. One of the brothers on North End said, oh, they're just making a statement, But the statement to me says, man, you got to go through a bunch of different more barriers before they find out who you really are, because your outer appearance says one thing. Your sag look says another thing for me, I remember stopping a young man on campus, and he looked like a student to me, but he looked like a student mixing it in with a little rap look, a little R&B look, a little, trying to put his own swag together is what they would call it. But I told him, I said, man, you know, I see corporate all over you because you got a bunch of books with you and you're on your way to class. I said, but man, I see you in a corporate setting, but you got to look corporate. You know, you can't wait to get to the place where God going to take you to and then try to reform yourself and get it all together and start a revival within yourself. It has to be something that's spurring up in the inside of you that you've been working on. You know, practice make perfect. It was a reason in the military why we trained every day. We trained every day to fight a war. We got a war that's going on out here, but we're not training. We're not practicing for success. You know, big shouts out to the moms, because most of those moms for those young men over Central Centennial were single moms. And they seen the importance to jump in this program and to be able to promote their kids, to put them in this video, because those kids are feeding off each other. And so I was able to talk to them and tell them that they stepped into a moment of leadership, because they didn't do what their peers are doing. They're doing what's not normal. You know, everybody's falling off each other. And I tell you where that kind of go with me from. It go from the white tee era. We used to have an era back in, I want to say back in like 2000, 99, where it was, I wear my white tee and I wear my Air Force Ones, and it was some songs out that said that promoted a lot of that. So I had all our kids out here, you know, they bought these big T-shirts and white T-shirts, and everybody kind of looked the same, and it took away our personal identity. You know, where our identities were disturbed, where we all started looking alike. We bought Jabot jeans, and we bought white tees, and we bought a pair of Air Force Ones, or we bought a pair of black Air Force Ones, and all the kids wore them. I mean, and then we went into an era where we started buying jerseys, and everybody wore a jersey. And so I knew something within my, you know, my spiritual spirit started saying, something ain't right with this. It just ain't right. It's taken away from my individuality. I believe each one of us are created different. You know, none of us should look the same. But on the criminal side of it, when we start doing, and what we're going to get into and talking about a little bit further is tasers and some other things, but on the criminal side of it, that is what the training goes off. I talked about military. So when we're documenting training and we talk about people that we're targeting that's going to be detrimental to our communities and things of that nature, and people that we should target that are harmful to our community, we start looking at, who are these people? What do they look like? Okay, so now our people that promote NBA and the rap and all this other type of stuff, this is what they look like. They wear the white tees, or they wear this, or they wear that. They hang in these type of neighborhoods, and then so they start labeling you like the teacher did me. Sean, you're not going to be anything. So then that's when they start saying to all our young people, because they look just alike. We have to start stopping that. As a parent, we got to draw the line and say, yeah, I know you're young, but let's start dressing for success. Let's be like these other young people that's on their way to Harvard. One young man was excited. He's on his way to Michigan State, you know. And if you know better, you start doing better, you know. And a lot of times, you know, maybe we didn't have an opportunity, you know, back in the day, back in the early 50s and 60s and some of the 40s. And, you know, back in the day, we didn't have an opportunity. But now we have every opportunity out there to be different. And there's nothing wrong with being different. Because a lot of these young men that I see that stepping the game up and that's putting a shirt and tie on, they're being leaders. And what they're going to do is they're going to see a lot of the young men that look up to them start saying, hey, man, where did you get that shirt from? Where did you get that tie from? They're going to see a lot of those young men starting to go to an after-school job, you know, and they're going to start that pattern. Because once you start making those forward steps, you know, toward adulthood, you're going to see the importance of how dressing for success makes a difference, how being on time makes a difference, how, you know, preparing yourself makes a difference, you know, the respect of it. You know, I used to tell a lot of my single moms that used to wanted their kids and just wanted them lined up and wanted their hair braided. And I said, man, I did my own scientific work when I was in the barbershop, and I said, you know, I noticed the kids that wear their hair braided. It started a more aggression, they They were a little bit more different than the kids that had the clear haircut. And I'm not saying all kids, but I'm saying some of the ones that came over to me. And so I started saying it didn't make a difference to me. It did make a difference. Let me restate that. It did make a difference to me on the way your parents looked, the braids and this, that, and other, because people start looking at you in a certain type of way. And we can't exclude what people say, because even Jesus asked, what do they say about me? He wanted to know what people thought about it, what people said. So it does make a difference in what people say. So one of the things that I was telling Mom, though, she was so worried about, this particular mom, she was so worried about his nice braids and his dookie braids and that type of thing. I said, Mom, I said, don't worry so much about what's on his head. Worry more so about what's in his head. That's going to make the difference about success. That's going to make a total difference about how he feel about himself, how he feel about people. Because if we're hurt in the inside, we don't have the necessary tools in the inside to equip, we're going to go out and we're going to hurt other people. We're not going to go out and try to be successful. We're going to go out and knock everybody else off their successful journey. You know, if you don't work, my mama used to tell me, if you don't work, you're going to steal. You got to get it some kind of way, because you got to keep up this certain look, this certain image, you know. And as I go back to my Clipper players or stuff that, you know, a lot of our parents, we spend a lot of time trying to put our kids in the NBA and make sure they become successful as basketball players and football players. I ask so many kids when we're doing community work, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? And so many of them say, I'm going to be an NBA, I'm going to be in the NFL, you know, and it sounds great. Sounds great. And maybe it's achievable, but not everybody's going to make it to the NBA, and not everybody's going to make it to the NFL, you know. But we all got an opportunity to be able to advance our lives in some positive form, whether if it's getting out of high school, going to a job, whether if it's doing like me and my brother Hub, go to the military and be an important asset to your country, you know, whether if it's going to a college and being the first one, the milestone one, and your family be the first one to break that milestone and go get a PhD or a master's degree or something, you know. I always say, just make somebody proud. That's me. I just want to see our young people start to make the strides to make somebody proud. You know, we're getting to a point where, you know, because of our lack of success, parents, then we want to try to push that onto our kids. You know, maybe we didn't make it to the, you know, I played football, I wrestled, we played basketball day to day, you know, ran track, you know, didn't make it. You know, I had a basketball coach that told me in school, hey, coach said you'd make a better wrestler. Okay. Well, I didn't get mad. I went out for wrestling. And neither one of them things I didn't want to do. You know, I was pretty good, but I wasn't great. You know, but I'll catch a lot of my guys down at my shop and a few other places that are still living the dream. They're still arguing about the NBA, NFL, and spending more energy and time on that and focusing on their individual lives. You know, I tell them, I say, man, you know more about Kobe Bryant and Donald Sterling's and everything that's going on with the NBA than you know what's going on in your own personal life, your personal forward success. You know, what are your kids on? You know, what are your plans for the future? You know, and a lot of us haven't even thought about that. A lot of us haven't even thought about. I was dealing with the family early this morning, and I've dealt with the family on last week, and I've dealt with families all the time about your pre-planning, about just what does that future look like, you know? And a lot of times we don't sit back and pause for the cause to find out what's going on with our future, you know? Who's the significant person that's going to take care of me if I can't take care of myself? We don't even think about those type of things, the important things, because clearly the things that's going on and the success level, success and money don't mean that. Success and money don't mean legacy building, because clearly some of these guys that we talk to, they're frustrated with their lives right now. Just because they're at a level of success and they walk out to a Bentley and they walk out to a big house, right now they understand that means they're not nothing. They mean that a lot of them feel like they've been used. You know, a lot of these successful people that I mentioned earlier in the program, they feel like they've been used, they've been hoodwinked, they've been bamboozled, which they have, because they put their level of success on monetary gain and assets out there and the things that we striving for every day because we're looking at them as celebrities on television and we're patterning our lives and say we want to be where they're trying to be. And so, and that ain't where it should be. You know, how do you treat your brother, your sister, your mother, your father? You know, what type of community involvement are you doing? What are you doing right now to battle racism right now within our own community? Because a lot of times we talk about a lot of stuff, but we don't do a whole lot. And in order for things to get better, you got to do something about it. You know, the definition for insanity is expecting a different result and doing the same old thing. And so many times our lives are so repetitious that we're doing the same thing, fighting an endless battle every day, but never doing anything about it. You know, and so what I encourage you to do is let's do something about it. I've talked to a few people within the community, NAACP and some other people within the community that's going to be having some community forums addressing racism throughout our community. So we can start doing something about it, talking about those things that's not been talked about. How can we come into a neighborhood and make a neighborhood better than come into a community or a neighborhood and tear it down? How can we become a homeowner and be proud of being a homeowner? You know, what's the value of that? You know, we got to start seeing value in things that we do, you know, and the importance of things that we do. So we start respecting each other, because I believe that plays a big role too, is just respecting each other. You know, color, we can break all color lines and all color barriers. But I just think that, you know, treating your neighbor the way you want to be treated, I think that's major, you know, no matter what your economic status is, you know, where you come from, what your background is, you know. I mean, we all come from different starting points of our lives. You know, my start don't look like your start doesn't look like my start. But I think at the same time, at the end of the day, I think we can still love on each other, you know, and respect each other from wherever our start started from, you know, and the history that go along with it, whether if it was slave owners in your history or if it was sharecroppers in my history. We can put that in, you know, in order to move forward and in order to get forgiveness, you got to forgive, you know. And so as I was leaving just now, getting shaving, and I was looking at CNN, and they said, how can Donald Sterling get past what he's going through right now? Well, it's probably kind of premature right now, you know. But at some point, the people that's in his circle gonna have to break the barrier down and say, hey man, you know, Don, you said some terrible stuff, man, but we forgive you, because ultimately it's what his life represents and what he does with his life. He got to stand up for God for that. So we're gonna eventually have to let that go. You know, I played a vital role in the Kewan Carrington incident here in Champaign, with what happened over at the Champaign Police Department and things of that nature. And it was it was a traumatizing, it shook our community. It shook and rocked our community. Pastor Nash described it as the top boiling over, and as a boiling top, and it was at that time. But as we've moved forward and our communities start to move forward, families start to move forward, young people starting to move forward, you know, not everybody, you know, still in the same place, you know, but I think that we're starting to forgive a little bit. We're starting to break, and we're starting to bend a little bit. We're starting to change some things. It's mobilized a lot of people into a lot of different areas to be in young people's lives, to stop neglecting their civic duty as far as getting out to some of these meetings. I mean, start going to some of these school board meetings, start to see what's going on with our young people, start seeing what's going on with some of our elders, you know, our seniors out there, you know, starting to just look at our community a little bit different. We started some pilot programs, we started with the city of Champaign some roadmap programs that other cities can roadmap the tragedy that happened here and be able to address the same ways that we went about handling it with other cities and other tragedies going on around the country. It started developing some relationships, you know, all those things come into play, you know, in handling certain incidences and certain things that's going on right now. I looked at the local chapter of the NAACP in LA is addressing and starting to come forward, and they're going to get back some money that the Clippers gave to the NAACP, but they're talking about healing right now. And but they knew this guy's history from the beginning. And a lot of times, even, and I always tell some of my people when you're trying to figure out who somebody is, you can kind of determine off what their past success or their past history is going to be like to be with future history. But somebody told me, said, that's not true, Sean. Well, until you start seeing that active steps of forward movement and change, and a lot of times we just don't like the change. And so that's the same thing that a credit bureau would do to us, is start checking out, hey, who I'm dealing with, because they kind of bulk us all into a certain category, but they want to deal who we're dealing with. And so they want to find out what have you been doing? Have you been paying? What have you been paying? What have you been paying? And so what that looks like. So when we start to look at a person like Donald Sterling or some of these other people, what have he done in the past? How have he helped anybody? And you started to find out, hey, and I think the NAACP in LA knew it. This guy has been turning away minorities for years, not giving an opportunity with housing for years. So some people will never get it though, despite of no matter what we say. Some people will never get it because it's just embedded in them. It's embedded in them, to fight change, to fight against being unified, or as Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech said, little white boys and little white girls holding hands, moving together. I think that some people just just because of a lot of times just that history and just the things we were taught. And just the racism that's going on throughout our country. We have so many different militia groups, and so many people got mad at President Obama because he's African American, and so many different things. And I look at it total different. I mean, in the Bush era, I went in the military during the Bush era, the Clinton era, and I didn't look at them as being a white president. I looked at them as being the chief leader of our military. And I was willing to put, and me and the other brothers that were in, whether if it was infantry, whether if it was cook, whether if it was a tanker unit, whatever it was, whether it was the paratroopers that were in my unit, the special forces guys that were in my unit, we put our hands up and swore we'd defend this country for foreign and domestic, no matter who was the leader. But when President Obama got in office, you see so many people that's going so aggressive on his leadership. And him being the chief commander of our military and of our country. And we got to get past that. In order for us to be strong Americans, we got to see ourselves as Americans. Not a white American, not a black American, Americans. We got to see ourselves in this community as being, Champaignians, Urbanians, Illinoisans, not black or white. Once we get past that, we'll see our state starting to come out of the deficits that we're into. But long as we base our principles and our morals and our values on racist views, on immoral views, just all the negative things, we can't come out the gutter. We can't come up out the gutter. We can't get out of that mentality. And so and you'll see me a lot of times talk on this program about Christian beliefs and Christian views. And that's why I stick with my Christian beliefs and Christian views, because it's able to give me some relief. So as the country is talking about, this big black cloud of racism, a dark cloud of racism, that's going on. I'm not gonna feel it. I'm not gonna claim that. Y'all might go through that. A community could go through, but as an individual, you don't have to go through that. You don't have to look at the next person crazy because somebody said something crazy or this, that, and other. You don't have to do that. Let's beat that devil and beat that down. So let's start to address that. As we move forward, I always believe in celebrating people and celebrating the success of people. And Deacon Greg Harris over at WEFT, we did a program on this past Saturday for Deacon Harris over at Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church. I think it was last Saturday. Last Saturday we did the program for him, and I emceed, and it was just such a great program. And those are the things that I like to celebrate. He's been doing that program for over 31 years. I just went over to Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church for, they did over 80 years of their anniversary. I don't know a particular year, but over 80 years they've been in the realm of helping people in their spirituality and saving souls. And their new pastor is Pastor Ricky E. Parks, and just a great man, man. I love you, Pastor Parks. Keep up the good work. And all the members over at Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church. It's a great church. And as we sit there and we talked about the life legacy of Deacon Harris, and it's always good to give somebody their flowers while they're living. And I believe in that, celebrating your people, celebrating your loved ones while they're living, celebrate the oldest one in the family, your mothers, your grandmothers, your great grandmothers, being able to pick that phone up, because a lot of times, when a lot of times, we don't get out of our selfish state to be able to just render yourself available for somebody else, man. And so as we did that, and we gave him cars, and I could see the tears well up in his eyes, to just being happy. It's a song out called Happy, Happy, just being happy. And I felt him that day, just being happy. And it brought tears to my eyes to see him and everything, him and his wife, to be able to celebrate a moment. Because so many times when I see it, we're there to mourn the loss of a loved one. And then we talk about them, but they can't hear it. But then to be able to sit there and talk about this man, he's able to hear the good, nice things, and so as I talked about racism, it brought me to a quote that Bishop Gwynn always say, when we get to talking about somebody and things of that nature, is it nice? Is it kind? Is it true? He'll say some things like that, and I always think about that, and it's always good to add good messages, good inspirational messages. So when your battery pack low, you can reference back to it and pull you up out the dumps, pull you out the gutter, because the devil wants us to be defeated, and he wants us to feel like that we're inferior, and that there's no hope, and that there's no success. Our young people are doomed. Our success is doomed. People try to hold you to your past, and don't let your past hold you to your destiny or where your future gonna be at. And so in saying that, Deacon Harrison always stood in the gap for us at the radio station. He does the morning program. Him and Sister Clara Bright. She does the Sunday school lesson. He starts us out with them old quartets. And my mama always said, I love them quartets. And he starts us out at 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday mornings. And then Sister Clara Bright comes in at 7 at 7 to 7:30 with the Sunday school lesson. And then we come on after that. But I thank the Lord for you, Deacon Harris, man. You've been a pioneer over there at that radio station, man. Continue to travel down the road that God has put you on, and man, we really tip our hat to you and the people that's out there like you, that's dedicated through the storm and the rain, through the snow, whatever weather that's out there. You still fight your way to be able to be there and access for the people, and that's what it's all about, is being there for the people. I do believe that, being there for the people, to be able to help, be a helpmate, to help people in their lives, to make their lives better. And so, and that just goes a long way with civic duty. As I start to go on a little bit further, I wanted to address the issue of our Banner City Council. They spent a long, lengthy study session last night on tasers in the Banner, and so I remember some years ago when Champaign were trying to get tasers, and I was part of a group of people that went down there and we fought against tasers over in Champaign. And this was way before the Kewan Carrington incident happened. And for me, being a guy on the street, a brother in the hood, I had seen that we weren't there yet. The motives wasn't people that was going to be operating these tasers. They wasn't there yet to have that much authority and that much control on our citizens. I just didn't feel that. So I was totally against tasers and things of that nature at that particular time. And I seen last night, a lot of the people that were with me in that particular room, they're still against tasers and stuff of that nature. I was able to listen to the whole study session, and I was able to listen to Chief Connors Chief Conley give the overview and let the director from PTI be able to demonstrate and give actual video and then some actual new training tools and things of that nature that's going to be used with the new taser that's coming out. Much more different than tasers from years ago. This particular one has a video and audio on it, and it documents. It has a chip in it that documents every time that it's being used. We're coming into an era, and the sad part about it, despite of and that I do talk about success and forward movement and things of that nature, but I can just be honest with you that things gonna get a little bit worse. They ain't gonna get a lot better. As our workforce is declining and people that's out there, not having jobs, not having affordable homes, not having success levels the way they're supposed to be at. I'm just gonna keep it real with you and not gonna give you no lie. I don't believe it's gonna get too much better. But as things don't get any better, we still got to defend ourselves. And being a military guy, I think that you should have all the necessary tools to be able to help defend the community. And so, being said, with the oversight and the things of that nature that's going on, my views and my opinions personally, could they add these new tasers to their repertoire? Yeah, I think they should. But I would definitely also add a statement on that is saying, make sure the men and the women that's behind those tasers, motives are very, 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 very pure when they're using these on citizens of Champaign or Urbana or even within this county or through this country, because a lot of times that we can get selfish and we can let authority go to our heads and take advantage of situations. And I would recommend that these people be very careful at who you use these tasers on, and in the events that you use these tasers, you got a ton of things against you to be able to get these tasers, and we've seen the stories, we've heard the stories, we've heard the abuse of the stories on these particular tasers and what they can do. And we've heard stories of seniors being used on seniors and deaths occurring. We've seen it happen in the city of Champaign before. Deaths occurred. We've seen it. We witnessed it. It happened during our watch, and so I would encourage you to just really be mindful in the way that you use this and treat every human the same. Every human the same. Not black, not white. Human the same. And when we start looking at each other as human beings, we start a whole different mindset of where we're trying to go to. So I that you heard my views and my opinions on it. I just believe I understand that not everybody trying to go to work. Not everybody, So I'm just gonna keep it straight 100 with you across the board. You won't get no tails out of me. I just see it all around. I see the dysfunctionality. No matter if you talk to you blue in the face of some people, they just don't get it. I talked on a series before. How we talked to one young man and we talked to him, and he's now probably somewhere in the state of Illinois' penitentiary system right now. Because some people got to see it for themselves. And it's sad to say, but some people had to take an experience and had to split their head to the pink part themselves. Mom and dad could probably try to work so much to tell them, grandpa or mentor, we can only work so much to tell them, and try to give them a vision and an outlook of what we experienced that we went through, And a lot of times, when my young people, when you guys are listening to this here, we're not telling you because we don't love you. We're telling you this stuff because we love you. And a lot of times, we even as adults, we hate to hear the tough stuff from a friend or family member that might tell us this tough stuff about our lives, and then we start going into defense mode. But when people telling you things, they're telling you to you because they love you, and they don't want to see you go down a bad road and stuff like that. Sometimes I always say, analyze your messenger though. Analyze your messenger on some of the messages that come to you, and just, as far as me and just who I am, I want to see our community be successful. I want it to be better during my watch, my era, you know, because we are responsible for things that happen during our watch. You know, a lot of times my history piece, when we go back and look on history, you know, a lot of times we get so mad about what happened in the past and it didn't happen on our watch, but then we ignore what's happening on our watch. Should we be so much more mad about what happened when we didn't have control? Or should we be more upset of ourselves when we sat right on the wayside and watched us happen right in our face and do nothing about it? You know, we watching the school districts and some of these test scores happen right in our watch, right in our face. You know, I mean, like an opportunity that I had, I could have, last night instead of school board meeting, I could have went and dipped off and did something else. But let me pause for the cause and go to an important school board meeting to encourage young African-American men that kind of look like me, you know, that's trying to do a successful move inside their life. It's important. It didn't take me long to figure it out. You know, I had to do the math right. It's important. So the other stuff that I had to do, I had to put that on the backboard burner. And that's what we got to do in our lives. Evaluate what's important, you know. I mean, because a lot of times we do a lot of stuff. We go play softball, we go join these tournaments, we do all kinds of other stuff. You do what you want to do. You know, you do what you want to do. You know, a lot of times when we're having some of these services and things of that nature, people would say, well, so-and-so didn't make it. They be like, why so-and-so didn't make it? And I'm thinking to myself, people do what they want to do. People do what they want to do. And when it's important, you go all out your way to do something important. You know, when you feel it deep in your soul, it's important. And so we can't be more reactive. Once Sally Sue didn't make it, or somebody treated so-and-so, Jimmy treated little Jimmy wrong, and then you say, oh, Jimmy got treated wrong. Well, you had opportunities to go and be at the meeting before this even happened to little Jimmy, you know. And so a lot of times, you know, these funding meetings and where should our next school be? I mean, we got all kinds of hot topics that's on the agenda across this town. That's on the agenda right now. So don't neglect the responsibility of going out and participating, sitting in there. You know, it makes a big difference. You know, a lot of times they say, well, do my vote count? Your vote do count. Your presence counts. We're better in numbers, in larger numbers. And so when we sit in some of these meetings, you're able to voice your opinion. They say, well, what do you think, Mrs. So-and-so? You've been in this community for 30, 40 years, and your voice counts. And so now you're able to get a personal encounter and say, hey, look, well, I've been in this neighborhood, and I think we should do this. That makes a difference in the whole planning process. You know, and so as we get ready to, you know, relocate the schools, and what happened is that things then changed up. They're coming up with different blueprints and different diagrams of where should we put this new high school over in Champaign and things of that nature. But it made a difference about citizens coming out saying, hey, I don't think that's a good idea. And I think that we should relocate it here and we should relocate it there. So now it's making the people that's in the architect chamber go back and rethink where would this money be best allocated at. And I think it's always good to rethink things over, you know, so we make the best civic choice. Because when our leaders are in these positions, it's tough to make choices for people, and it's very tough to make choices for people that don't say nothing. So then we force something on you that you don't even want. So you got to get out to these meetings. You got to get out and you got to stake your claim. My brother Joe Stovall would say, you got to put some skin in the game. And so put your skin in the game. So I do thank the Lord for this program. I thank the Lord for everybody that participate in helping us orchestrate this program, and everybody that watched this program. Thank the Lord for my own personal church, Jericho Missionary Baptist Church with Pastor Lakevi C. Johnson. Man, you're doing an awesome work, man, and doing an awesome work within my lives and the brothers and sisters that I connect with, that I talk to all the time, man. And it is great to see some young guys come to our community that jump right into the saddle, man, and get right down and dirty and find out what's the tough stuff in our community and how can you make a difference, you know, and so you don't always have to be from this city. You know, a lot of times, you know, people feel like that they're an outcast because they're not, they don't have family ties here. Well, hey, look, we're surrogate family now, man. And so as you brought your family into this community, man, we love you for the things that you're trying to do within our community. You got a lot of stuff going on, and I just thought it'd be really great and special just to downshift and just let you know, man, personally from Sean, man, we love you and your family, and I thank you for everything that you're doing, and I'm 500% behind you on every move that you make. Not only are we spiritually growing, you're helping our community physically grow, and you, Pastor Parks, Pastor Thomas, just so many different young guys that's involved now within our community. That feel as though everybody in our community is important, and so I just elated to come to the Baptist ministry and be able to speak with all of the Baptist pastors and talk about the things that concern us in business and things of that nature, to be able to help families out there, man. So I see we shared tears together in service and just to see just a whole different side of people, you know, to be able to see that. And that let me know that you're real. And what we need is real people out there. You know, we don't need nobody giving us a song and dance. You know, we don't need any of that anymore. We need people to be real people with people. You know, we tired of the fake. Stop giving me the phony. You know what I'm saying? We need real people. So I thank you and you guys for being real, man, and being real with our people, man. Continue to keep that going no matter what it takes. And no matter what level, Lord, take you to, continue to keep that, because I do believe that your further growth and your further growth going catapult right off of that is just being real and giving the people what they need. So I thank the Lord for those guys and everybody else that's a participant in this community and trying to make this community better. You know, you don't have to be in no particular organizational or a particular leadership role to make a difference. You know, just whatever tools that you have, whatever skills that you have. You know, it might be just working on an old car or something. But if you teach another young man how to work on that car, you know, it might not. You might be a seamstress, but you're teaching another young man, the young lady on how to be a seamstress. I think it'll go a long way, and it speaks volumes of just your personal character and your patience with someone, you know, and so being at a, you know, don't take yourself to pasture because you hit retirement. You know, retirement means to me, it means your era of teaching. It ain't your era laying down. It's your era of teaching somebody else, being able to give back to somebody else. And so don't feel like it's your time for pastoring and things of that nature. You know, go back somewhere and give back. Volunteer somewhere, and it always enlightens me when I go out to a Myers, I go out to a Walmart, or I go out over to Carl Hospital or Provena, and I run into volunteers, and it just speaks volumes about the person that's out there donating their time for free to be able to help someone else. So I thank the Lord for that. We're just coming off the Eber Fest, and big shouts out to Spike Lee being there to come to town, and all the other filmmakers and directors that came to town and was able to participate within the Eber Fest. Thanks a lot for the run that we had, the marathon that we had here in Champaign, and being able to get people. I've seen people training for this particular run for many months, and it was just enlightening to see our city just pause and being able to get back. The next day they had a thing out of Hessel Park for autism, and just being able to see people just out there celebrating and to be able to support somebody else and what they're going through. And in order for people to feel you and what you're going through, you have to feel them and what they're going through. And my buddy Joel Osteen said, in order to get a blessing, sometimes you got to be a blessing. So I thank the Lord for that. So I thank the Lord for all you guys at UPTV that helped me out. Everybody everybody that's in my circle that helped me, whether it's in the insurance business, whether it's in the funeral home business, whether it's down there at the barbershop, or just community guys that come together and just jail with me to come up with creative ideas so we can be a much better community. I thank you guys, and thank the Lord for me just staying grounded, that's and staying humble. Don't let nobody tell you nothing about Sean. Come find out from Sean for yourself, pick up the phone, call me. You need any information out there within the community. Let me be an asset and let you connect with the relationships that I've built in this community, because those relationships are not just for me. Those relationships are for you guys out there also. And so whatever I can do to make you or your family better, you reach out to me, call me. My number's all over the place, so give me a call down here to UPTV. I thank the Lord for you for letting us be in front of you one more time for another episode of Let the Truth Be Told. Thank you.